Audio test. Audio test. Hello, guys. Hello guys, welcome to the stream. I just need to remember actually that I need to be putting X-Plane into windowed mode to get it to work on the recording. I do forget that, and I'm positive it was Alt and Enter, although obviously not. Great start. Yeah, I do forget that. This game works normally in full screen, but then for streaming I have to have it in windowed, otherwise it keeps disappearing on the capture on OBS. I don't know why, but it just does. So full screen, then go N. I signed it to N, so press the N key and there we go. We should be now pretty good in this mode. Obviously you guys can't really tell the difference, but I can because I've got the overlays covering it up. So we're here in Prague. We're flying down to Birmingham today as Jet2, virtual Jet2. And we're here in Jet2. Now, there's a number of different Jet2 liveries. Oh, what do you know? Something's just... Wait, what? That plane is not on... Oh, I know. It's because I haven't refreshed Vatsim in ages. Wow. So the plane that I thought was was miles away from Prague has just touched down. What do you know? We're here on a remote stand because it doesn't say anywhere in virtual Jet2's area what actual gates we use here, so I've just gone with that. We're all set up here with the GPU. I can get rid of the loader unit actually. That is needed actually. That's a different thing for the. We want a passenger bus and a fuel truck and some stairs. So we'll get all that in there. We'll work on that later. Do maintenance. Again, maintenance has been successfully performed. We'll just go to reports. No maintenance at all because failures do occur in this aircraft. I had a failure of the ground power once. As well, so it does happen. Right, turn on the battery. We're doing it cold and dark here, so it does mean we'll take a little bit of time to get this thing set up. And I've just realised I left the background music on. We'll turn that off now. Auto on the standby power. We'll let the aircraft boot up. External power is into the on position, and then before we do anything, we want to align our IRSs because it takes absolutely forever in this aircraft. We just want to wait. So we're going to get the bus tyres on, and that lets the plane kind of get all its electricity flowing around. Settings, we're going to go with the PIP FMC. It does mean that we don't have quite an accurate wind input, but all the other things, like V-speeds get given to us, so it's actually a better... I've tested both FMSs. They're the same in terms of looks, they just work slightly differently. So we're here on the ground in LKPR, Prague. Praha Vatsim, I think is the actual name of the airport itself. So that's that. So we're going from LKPR to EGBB, and we want to go up here and put the IRSs into align mode. And we can switch these between, so once we've got the align started, we can put them into nav mode, and then they'll pop up. If you leave them in align mode, they won't show that they've aligned, even if they have. You have to like manually tell it that you've aligned it. Right, where is the thing that should be popping up saying, do you want to align your IRS? So you go position it in it, there it is. We'll get in the position of Prague Airport, set IRS position, and that should now be in align mode. Yep, so we're going to pop it in nav, and then as soon as it finishes aligning, it'll pop up. So that's that bit. What's that sound going on there? And you can see all the all of the stairs and all the... I don't know why there's a loader unit there, of all places, but you can see everything that should be here is here, meaning that we can get everything set up. So in X-Plane, you do have to load all things like the fuel and whatever onto your aircraft, and they do actually take time, unlike in, unlike FSX, where it's instant. So let's get our load on board for today, now everything's aligning. That will take about 10 minutes, so we'll probably have to wait for it after we've finished setting up anyway. So passengers today we have 156, and cargo we're planning 2,500 kilos, and we're planning a fuel weight of 9,945 kilograms. So that's everything in there. Optimise the CG. Obviously everyone's in economy. Welcome to Jet2. So we're looking at for a zero fuel weight today of 78.9, and we've only got 76.7. So we're going to add in an extra little bit of fuel. 78.9, there it is. So that's good. Not fuel, I said cargo. Adding a bit extra cargo. Quick maintenance, just to, another lot of maintenance, why not? And we'll go ahead and click load / oh yeah, I need to open the doors first, don't I? So we'll open the doors, and we'll open the back door, and we'll open the cargo doors, and that should be enough. Load. This will load the plane with the parameters set, and then go, you can see there it says there, loading the plane, please wait. That will just chill there, so I know when it's finished, because I often make the mistake of not knowing. I'm going to put this in my second monitor, so I can keep an eye on it. So I'll know when the loading's finished, because sometimes I accidentally start the loading again, like I accidentally unload the aircraft, because I'm not sure if it's finished yet. So I just like to have that up on my second monitor so I can see. Right, so call sign today is EXS ChanX. I know it's a bit weird that Jet2 has a call sign ChanX. It's because they used to be Channel Express, I think. That's what they used to be called until they rebranded as Jet2. So Channel Express, ChanX, and then they just kept it. So we need to wait to put in the weights for today. We need to wait for the fuel to be loaded on board, otherwise it won't properly know. In terms of today's flight then, we're going to be using runway 24. Simbrief always plans 30 and 06. That runway is shut. No, 06 isn't shut, is it? No, it's 1230 is shut. They only use it, they very rarely use it in real life anyway. It's kind of like an overflow runway. So, yeah, but Simbrief always plans it. So it's going to be runway 24. It's going to be the Ball 2 for Alpha. Get that in there, and go to route. Let's get our route plugged in then. So from Ball 2, it's L984. We're taking that to Donad. And then it's direct to Sopga. I'll just check as well that the audio is properly working. I should have had the... okay, yeah, it's a weird bug going on, is it? Yes. I was supposed to have it up on my phone, but it never started. That's a donut. Yeah, weirdly, it never started the thing. Doesn't matter. It not for everyone else, just for me, because it's a weird bug with YouTube sometimes where if you put it on the preview stream and then it doesn't start the stream automatically, you have to go off it and then back in on the app. So Sobgo direct to Farrick, and then L602 to Sodro. And then it's going to be direct to Robel. And I don't have any ATC, by the way, for today. It doesn't look like at the moment, unfortunately. Direct Robel, L602 again to Kemad. Lots of directs on today's route as well. It didn't detect me pressing K, that's okay. Kemad. And then it's direct to Domeg, I don't know, however you say it. And then it is direct to Ordville. Ordville. And then it's direct to Abned. And then it's L980 to Lambourne. And L610 to Hemel. And then from there, we'd normally take, well, not normally, but quite often, there's not many stars at Birmingham Airport, but there is one from Hemel, but it kind of loops round the airport and encourages you to take the Birmingham VOR route into the airport, which is a really long kind of, basically you have to go, it's a lot longer, and I've looked at flight radar and they all use either, if you're coming from the south, sort of where we're coming from, you head just direct into the airport from Hemel by Luton. You just head direct from there into the airport, and then the planes coming over from the north and Ireland are kind of routing in close to the airport, and then basically doing a little kind of turn on, onto final approach. They're kind of going past the airport and then turning onto final. So that's what they're doing in Birmingham, which means that we're not going to take the Hemel arrival. We're going to do a direct from the ILS. Turns out Hemel, direct to the ILS, is basically a straight line, which is kind of, it's why it's often used as an arrival point, I think, for Birmingham, even without a star. So it's going to be the ILS 33, no transition, and no star. So, and then we're basically going direct from Hemel to the ILS. Like, it's only 55 miles, and it's basically straight. Set the auto brakes to RTO. The nav hasn't aligned yet. By the sounds of that, the sounds have stopped. That means, yep, everything is on board. So that means we can get on with our performance in it. You can see there, 9.9 kilos of fuel. There's two. Cruise altitude today is 360. Cost index is 6 because we're Jet2 and we're cheap. Yeah, so no cruise winds. That's the only thing that I don't like about this FMC. It's a choice though. The other FMC doesn't allow you to put in. The other FMC doesn't calculate V speeds for you, and there isn't a V speed calculator for this plane. Well, at least what I could find online, there wasn't one. I just noticed there's apparently a Cessna 172 approaching Prague at 31,000 feet, doing 400 knots. Yeah, definitely a Cessna, but something's gone weird there. We'll just ignore that. So that means, there you go, everything's plugged in there. Also, one thing I've just noticed looking at X-Pilot, it's such a key thing, this. If any of you guys fly this aircraft from cold and dark, click that thing, otherwise you won't be able to hear anything from COM 1. And then we'll press that one for COM... No, it's not that one. Which one's for COM 2? So that was COM 2. I guess it does. I guess in this aircraft you can't listen to COM. No, in this aircraft you can't listen to COM 2 at all, I don't think, unless you select it. Wait, is that it? Yeah, there we go. So we can now receive from COM 2 as well, if needed. We're going to tune over to Unicom, so 1228. This aircraft's a little bit different in that you don't actually swap frequencies around, you just swap that little thing around on there. And there we go, that should be it. We just need to get everything set up now. So the IRSs aren't aligned yet, still. Going to be flaps 5 on takeoff. Thrust, I always use 55. I don't know why. Trim, oh, hang a minute. We haven't got V-speeds, why not? I thought this FMC actually gave out V-speeds rather... Because the other one doesn't give out V-speeds, but I thought this one did. Oh, there we go, select on. There we go, we have now got V-speeds. And it gets set automatically for some reason. I don't know whether it's like that in the real aircraft, but that's what it does. And I haven't found a setting to change it, so that's just how it is. Yep, I've started tracking on the virtual Jet2, so let's get everything set up then. These are still aligning. They take a good 10 minutes in this aircraft, and there's no timer, sadly. So they just take forever. So, get the elec things on, get utility bus on, engine gens. Also, never, ever press these things. I accidentally did it once, and I had to run the entire flight on the APU. Because it does that, you can't turn back on the plane after doing that. Actually, I'm going to leave this until engine start. We're currently at about, I believe, about 1,000 feet, about 1,200 feet, I think it is, here in Prague. I think that's the... What is the QNH here? Let's quickly look. Also, the QNHs aren't synced here on the aircraft, so you need to set both 1018. Okay. 1018. So let's go ahead and set that. Yeah, you need to do it on both sides of the aircraft. So 1018 on this side. Also, it's better to do it via altimeter because the QNH doesn't always match up. So 3006 to match up both sides. And yeah, you can see we're at about 1250 feet. And trimmer, recirc fans, oh yeah, let's move the camera over here. Smoking signs on, seatbelts on, and we need to get this into, actually yeah, these into auto, and then the temperature needs to be set to auto, otherwise it doesn't work. And window heat's on, and that's about it for now. We need to wait a little bit. Oh yeah, this needs to be in auto 1. And I think that's about it for now. We just need to... Oh, there you go. The IRS has aligned. How wonderful. However, it does appear that a lot of the settings that I like haven't... I'll just check now. There's a number of settings that I run on this aircraft. And it does... Okay, yeah. Modern EFIS panel is ticked. It's all how I want it. There's a number of things that I like on this aircraft to be how they are. There's a number of different configuration options. So I'll have it in map mode, traffic on, and TCAS set to 2200, and no ATC. Currently, there is another plane on the ground here, so that'll be interesting. See what that's doing. I just noticed the window fogged up a little bit. The window's like iced up. What's the temperature here? Oh, it is 0 degrees. No, wait. Yeah, it's -1. Okay, I think we need some anti-ice, guys. Let's get that anti-ice on. For departure. We'll wait till we start and everything. Obviously, we've got the window heats on now, so they should start. I think I probably should have turned them on a bit earlier. Anyway, let's get everything set up then. Now we're ready to go. So we want to head to airplane. Let's get the APU fired up. We don't need to do a pushback here. We can just do it all on stand because of the way we're facing. So shut all the doors. So yeah, no need for better pushback today. And parking brake is set. So I just need to wait for the APU to fire up. We'll get the hydraulic pumps on. There might be a specific order you need to do these in, but I don't know what that is. Fuel pumps on. Packs are automatic in this aircraft, so they'll just fire on whenever they want. When they need to. Right, so we'll let the APU fire up and then we can get started. Currently the only plane on the ground here in Prague. I think that plane, that Cessna, is doing a bit of a weird approach actually. It's it's using runway 30, I think, because SimBrief gives everybody runway 30, and they don't realise that it's actually shut. Is the APU started? I hear that little click. Yep, the APU should be started now. IRS nav only, that's perfectly normal in this aircraft. It doesn't actually have a GPS installed properly, I don't think. It's quite an old aircraft, which is the reason for that. You can see there, 646 miles, that's perfect. Just check the time is correct, because sometimes I forget I've not got it in nav mode for whatever reason. LNAV, VNAV, no altitude restrictions on the climb out. So, straight up to our cruising altitude today of 36,000. And we now need APU gen on, external power gen off, little flickering as you swap over. Everything disconnected. And we can start the engines now. No warning lights, no, just some pressure on the hydraulics. That'll go away once we've started, so that's all good. That means then it is time. Isolation valve and APU valve on, and let's get the aircraft started. So we want to head down to this engine. We'll start engine 2 first, why not, and get the engine page up. We should be able to see this rising now. There we go. It does it very slowly. So there you go, there's 20, introduce fuel, and there we go, that one's starting up. Go outside and admire this plane. Hang on a minute, are we going to hit that pole? I think we're going to hit that pole. We need to turn left slightly. Also, in X-Plane, all the different planes have different ways of controlling them. So, a little bit of an embarrassing thing, but I was flying this thing out of Madeira, and the button that you assign to the brakes on this thing is different to the button that you assign to the brakes on the Zebo. So guess what? I ended up in the sea. So before we set off, we're definitely checking that the brakes work, because if they don't, I don't want to end up in the sea again. Really, it would be appreciated. Right, there you go. This engine's now firing up. Now the other one's finished firing up. Introduce fuel on the left side. You can see there you go. The temperature's rising nicely now. And then we'll let the engine settle, and then once that happens, we'll make sure that all of the, engine bleeds can come on as well. And then we just want to make sure, really, that everything is working as it should. So you can see the engines have not quite stabilised yet. We need to wait for the temperature to turn down a little bit, which it is doing. And you can see there the engine EPR is only just rising as well. So we need to just let it, give it a chance to start. There you go. You can see it's fully starting now, all good. So oh, there you go. So that's all good now. Left gen, right gen on, APU gen off. Actually, no, the APU gen stays on these aircraft. I do forget that. Same as in the 777. You get a recall warning light if you turn it off, which means that you probably should have it on. I don't really know why that is, because the APU. Why do you want the APU gen on if there's no APU? I guess it's like I think it's like an emergency power thing. Because the APU is used as an emergency power source. Okay. So, heading is set to runway heading. That's onboard brake set to RTO. Flaps set to 5, hopefully. And, okay, the parking brake button doesn't work, I guess. Is this button assigned to anything? Yeah, parking brake on off. This is what I mean. There is some weirdness. It's set to the 737, so there might be a different... there might be a different one. Doesn't look like it, never mind. So this thing doesn't have a parking brake key, basically. So parking brake's off, and just check that my audio is actually working on X-Pilot. It is. Prague traffic, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf, taxi runway 24. Alright. Onwards. Oh, hang a minute, wait a minute. We need to get... There's no taxi lights from what I found on this thing. I thought there must be taxi lights, but I honestly can't see them. Now, nose wheel steering. Another thing that doesn't necessarily work. I've just gone straight part. Yeah, okay, so I think I need to press A. Nope. What have I got it binded to? Nose wheel steer Z. Is it? This is actually ridiculous. Oh, I forgot. You need to do it with the rudder in this aircraft. That's why. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So in the 737, you can't use the rudder to control the ground, to control it on the ground, because it doesn't listen. But you can see this aircraft, you do need the nose wheel steering doesn't work. You need to use the rudder, which I do have maps. Yeah, X-Plane's a bit of a faff for that, trying to steer on the ground without rudder pedals. Right, let's get the anti-ice on, because I think we're going to need it somehow. Because it's -1 outside and it's cloudy. So, probably a good idea to have anti-ice. Obviously, we haven't had any de-ice treatment, because there isn't any. But yeah, I'd love to find a taxi light on this aircraft. I honestly can't find it. Like, I've looked all around it, and there's nothing... I can barely see out the window. But is this like... This is weird. Why not? I'm positive the visibility shouldn't be like this. I know this thing's old and does have dirt around it a little bit. Maybe that's why. Just checking that the Pegasus thing is working correctly. That's the flight tracking software for virtual Jet2. And indeed any virtual airline from virtual AMSYS. Don't know why they're called that. Yeah, I can't find the taxi light. Look, there's nothing. Right, everything's looking all good there though. And then yeah, we've got nice anti-ice. The window heats are on, so if you know the windows should be okay really. And then on departure, it's going to be a very straightforward departure out, then a right turn, then a left turn, and then onwards on the flight. That's about it really, very simple. It's about an hour and 50-minute flight this, so not too long really. We're supposed to be taking off about 9:30ish, so we're a couple of minutes early, which is great. yeah, let's get all these holiday makers, because this is Jet2, remember, back to their home in Birmingham. I mean, not that you're allowed to travel right now properly, but I guess in the virtual world you can. No one's stopping them. And that plane is just about to touch down, as in the one that probably shouldn't be. It's branded as a Cessna, but it's going way too fast for a Cessna, and it's using the shut runway, and its flight plan has no remarks. So in short, yeah, not good. Right, TCAS can come on. I think I would have turned it on a bit earlier, but never mind. You can see there is the Cessna. We can see it on our TCAS system. Prague traffic, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf, taking off runway 24. There you go, lining up on the runway now, landing lights on. Runway turn-offs, it's a massive faff to get that other runway turn-off light to actually work. You have to like move the camera under there, look, and then it works. It's a really weird light, and I don't know why it's like that. I don't know why Flight Factor made it like that. It's a really good aircraft, this, the 75. I've actually really liked it. That's why I'm flying it today. First proper X-Plane Vatsim flight as well on the channel. The other one, obviously, was just kind of an introduction to X-Plane. It wasn't on Vatsim or anything. Now, this thing does have a toga button, and we will be using it. But I think I need to have the... I think this thing goes auto-throttle once you're in the air. Because I've noticed once you're in the air, it suddenly goes down to 0 throttle. And that's because I leave the throttle on 0 because I'm using the toga button. So what I'm going to do today to test this out, so I'm going to start the clock and toga, but then I'm also going to put the thrust up, and then we'll see if the plane still goes to idle power after takeoff, because obviously it does kind of hurt your takeoff momentum a little bit when that happens. Now, that plane that's landing, it should have vacated way earlier. In fact, the two runways don't even cross each other, so it should be okay. Any knots? You can see there, much better we are actually. So hopefully this thing doesn't go weird later. Getting a very nice 40 FPS here, which is decent. V1, or rotate. And up we go. Positive rate, gear up. Apparently we need to really pull the plane up a little bit. And there we go, up, away, in the air. And flaps 1. And then go easing the plane down now. And this is where it shouldn't go this is where it shouldn't go naught thrust. Yes, it worked. Okay, 0. On the flaps, and my solution of keeping the power in did seem to work because it hasn't lost power. Right, runway turn-offs off. That one's a pain. Why did they put it there? Like the click box. It's so messed up. I don't know why we're limited to 230 knots. I did put the gear up, right? Yes. So there's no reason as to why we should be limited. Oh, there you go. We are now up to 250 knots. I guess the flaps are taking ages to like retract or something. What's the transition altitude here? 5,000 feet. Okay, we'll be through that very quickly. Going to 20 nautical mile range now, and then up we climb out of Prague on Unicom. No ETC, sadly, for us today. So there you go. Everything's good then. Engines are all looking good. Everything's fine. There you go. There's 5,000 feet. So we want 29902 on there and on there. There we go. And then up we climb. So right up to 36,000 today. Very nice climb, great, very nice climb right at the moment. Gonna make a right turn, then a left turn. Yeah, climbing up through 7,000 feet now. We'll set heading after we're heading past Ball 2, because this city is a little bit all over the place. I don't know what those random seatbelt signs are. They happen quite a bit in X-Plane. If anyone knows what they are, please say. And yeah, we are nicely in the air. Everything's being tracked by Pegasus client. I don't know why it's called Pegasus. That's just what they called it. For all of it, because they moved over from smart cars, they developed their own flight tracking software, but yeah, they called it Pegasus. Who knows why? This virtual airline and all the it goes with all the others like Virtual EasyJet, Virtual Ryanair. They're all part of the same group in a way. I don't really know what to describe it as because they are separate virtual airlines. We all use the same method of doing virtual airlines, I guess. Right, passing 10,000 feet, landing lights off, and we'll let the speed build up. I love watching the Mach speed limiter because it goes up really like nicely. It's a very fast aircraft this as well. This is on cost index 6, look, and we're doing Mach 0.77 on cost index 6. If you go to cost index 35, which is what Fly UK use, you can get Mach 0.8 in it, which is really nice. But I like watching the Mach speed limit thing go up there. It's like nice and it's analog. There are some nice steam gauges in this aircraft. It's very nice. The 757 is a perfect mix between still being quite old-fashioned, but then it's also quite a good aircraft. You know, it's still easy-ish to fly. It's not quite as straightforward as the 7.3, but it's pretty much alright. Alright, anti-ice can come off now as well. Now we're above the clouds. There it is. You can see the windows do look a bit clearer now. Maybe it was just some fog, like low-level fog, maybe. Right, up to 80 nautical mile range. Actually, we'll keep 40 nautical mile range. There's a lot of waypoints on this section. I flew the first leg of this trip from Birmingham to Prague a couple of days ago, and there was this airway that has like tons of waypoints outside Prague. I think it might be a different airway, but there was like maybe 6 or 7 waypoints within like 20 miles or something like that. It was really clumped together. Well, we'll wait until we're heading to Ball 2 and then we'll turn off the seatbelt signs because that means we'll be heading pretty much in a straight line from there. And obviously there's no star or anything come Birmingham because of how we're doing things. Just checking. I mean, the runway that is in use down in Birmingham, there was a plane that landed 37 minutes ago and it used that one. So it's probably the one that we'll be using now. The next plane to arrive at Birmingham is in 20 minutes. There's a couple of planes. Weirdly, a Scandinavian A330 going from Brussels. What's that about? Plane from Dubai, Amsterdam. So there's quite a bit of traffic then, which is nice to judge what runway we need to use down there. Because at the moment the winds are just saying variable. Yeah, the winds are variable at 1 knot. So there is not really any winds. Clouds are broken at 400. So once again in X-Plane we have low cloud. I don't know what, it's like a theme. Right, seatbelt signs can come off now. Because we're now heading in a straight line. Set our heading round now to something actually accurate. And there we go. Halfway to cruise altitude. This thing is a very slow climber once we get upwards of about 30,000 feet. It starts doing a proper Airbus climb, even though it's a Boeing. We'll have a quick look. Normally Simbrief is very accurate at calculating the climb time for this aircraft. 18 minutes it thinks today. Yeah, it has typically been very accurate, Simbrief, at determining how long it takes us to get to a certain altitude, which is kind of good. I guess the calculations it has for the 757 are pretty perfect. It's definitely not like that in all aircraft. And yeah, heading down to Birmingham. We're currently the only plane inbound to Birmingham. No ATC online for the entirety of our route today at the moment. Bit of a shame. It is quite early in the morning yet though. There might be some more around 10 AM, half 10. It's currently only half 9, so we'll see. I noticed as well with this aircraft that it does use. Oh, I forgot to turn the APU off. That's why. I noticed the left tanks were using slightly more fuel than usual. It's because I left the APU on. And then this is a bug, I think. You have to cancel it and then do a recall. Oh. Yeah, eventually that'll go off. When you turn the APU off, they go APU gen off and then turn it on again. And that should cancel the recall. There you go. It's a bug, I think. When you turn off the APU, it thinks the APU gen is off. It happens when you turn on the APU as well. And all we have to do is turn off the APU gen and then turn it on again and it stops freaking out. Yeah, I forgot to turn off the APU, my bad. That's why we're using slightly more fuel on the left side there. Fuel temperature is 5 degrees, so that's fine. Cabin altitude's nice. Oh, rip. Accidentally knocked those. There you go, it looks very nice out. I love how X-Plane looks. I honestly think, by default, this game looks better. I mean, to be honest, I think FSX trumps the new Microsoft Flight Sim for default anyway. Like yesterday, I took a free Saab 340 that Fly UK did, just like a little freeware plane built up from bits from default aircraft, and flew it from Inverness down to Newcastle yesterday, just for a bit of fun. And honestly, the ATC in that game are better because they give you an approach, rather than, you know, on a couple of occasions they've not given me an approach in the game, and they don't give you vectors, remember, in the new game. So there you go, that's 2 points straight away. And then, obviously, I was flying with packed AI. I mean, world of AI, so very, very busy. Enough to stutter when it loaded in, and yet it didn't crash, and it was a 40-minute flight. And yet after half an hour in the new flight sim, it instantly crashes with AI turned on. So there you go. 2 points as to why FSX is still better than the new one. And then X-Plane trumps both of them. As a game, like the way the game works, I still prefer FSX. However, FSX is 32-bit and doesn't look as good. So X-Plane is overall better because it performs a lot nicer. You do get better FPS in X-Plane and it looks better. That combination, you can't beat it. Looking better while still getting better FPS. That's an unbeatable combination. Sadly, the new Flight Sim can't even do that, because the FPS in that is quite dodgy. It's good, but then when you turn off the weather and then turn it on again, or if you change graphic settings, 5 FPS. We start a flight, after, like, you know, after saving it and then coming back, 5 FPS. No, it's not the most optimised of games. Right, up to 80 nautical mile range on there, yeah. There's not too many waypoints. It looks okay. But we're now heading in a straight line for ages until Domeg. That's the next kind of proper turn, so we've got quite a while heading in this direction. And we're almost at cruise, 28,000 feet at the moment. Also, we've got to get to 36,000 feet. I'm almost at cruise speed, Mach 0.72. We're going to 7.77 today, roughly. Yeah, I have really started to like the 757. It's definitely the plane that I use the most. I barely used the A320. I bought the A320 and I barely used it because I've been faffing around with this plane in the Zebo. But I'll definitely do a stream on the A320 at some point. Almost certainly. Did I leave a space on my overlay between? No, that's how it is. Yeah. So yeah, obviously, a bit weird having a call sign with letters in it. Only real airlines do that. For some reason, Fly UK doesn't have it. They used to have call signs that had letters in them, but not anymore. I wonder if there are any Fly UKs on the network this morning. There probably are a few, aren't there? Yeah, there's quite a few. There's 1, 2, 3. One going from Malta to Gatwick, Geneva to Edinburgh, and London to unknown. Well, what about any Jet2s? There's normally a lot of Jet2s online, obviously not just for the virtual airline, just in general. Actually, no, there's only 2. There's one going from La Palma to Leeds in a 737. I will check on the virtual airline on the virtual Jet2. What's really cool as well, this Pegasus client, it allows you to view a map of where everybody is in the virtual airline, and you can see there's only 2 people by the looks of it, so it's not the most popular virtual airlines. There's me and there's the other person. Direct 555 miles to go to Birmingham, and we have 573 miles, so we're going mostly direct, which is good. That's always good. Obviously it's because we're not using it. If we were using a Star, it would have added on about 40 miles to our route at least. Probably more than that by the time you added in the actual approach itself, the weird like looping round Birmingham. I'll show you here. So basically Birmingham doesn't have much of choice in terms of stars. So here's Hemel, where we're finishing our route, and then that dotted line is the route between the end of our last waypoint and the approach, because there's no star. That's what it is. It's pretty much straightforward look. So why do you need a star? I mean, and then if we were using ILS 1015, again, pretty straightforward. We could go from here direct to that red dot, which is Birmingham, and then do a little turn round, and that'd be the easiest way of doing it. So the need for a star isn't really very obvious, because Birmingham isn't massively busy. It's quite busy, but you can see that they all go into this one point look, which is kind of weird, you know. Like the Hemel 1 Bravo, it comes in and sort of like loops round, and then there isn't a direct approach from there. You have to take a weird route to there, just to loop round again. It's, I don't know, I think a lot of these British airports, like Manchester's the same, they have quite weird stars, because they're not really intended to be used. It's just that when flying online, like if you look at flight radar, they never use them. They get vectors. In real life, you get vectors almost all the time, unless it's really busy, like at Gatwick or Heathrow, and then you get sent to a hold. So the need, the need for stars isn't quite there. But in a flight sim, where there's not always ATC, you do need to plan one. Although I haven't, because they get in the way. It's easier to do a straight-in approach. Makes life a bit better. Now, in terms of stands at Birmingham, I don't know which stands to use, because sadly, I said the Pegasus client normally has built in a series of stands that the virtual airline tells it what you can use. However, that isn't the case for this one. So this virtual airline, there is no stand at all booked for us. It's just whatever. And there you go, there is the plane inbound to Birmingham, and if you look, it takes a very similar route to what we're doing. It's kind of going in over Luton and then heading direct into the airport. It should be, it's only at 13,000 feet, so the star requires you to be at 22,000, so it's definitely not doing the prescribed star. And that's what planes in Birmingham are doing. That's what they do. That SAS will be getting vectors right now from its ATC, rather than following a star. And we've just reached cruise altitude. It takes a bit of time for Pegasus to kind of patch on to that. Like 17 minutes, look, so simply was only 1 minute out. Perfect. So there we are, nicely. And then, yeah, it takes a good 3 or 4 minutes for Pegasus to clock that we're at cruise. We'll be at cruise for around about an hour, I suspect, ish. We're due into Birmingham in an hour, just under an hour and 20 minutes. We'll just check the weather report in Birmingham. There is a new one. Winds are still variable at 1 knot. Cloud broken at 500. Visibility only 2,200 metres. So not the nicest, that. It's 0 degrees, QNH 1026. So we can chill out for a bit now. Got a plane now on our map, is it? That's Lufthansa 4 Echo Juliet going to Frankfurt. That'll be descending soon then. Weirdly, there's 7 planes on the ground in Heathrow. Not Heathrow, one more about Frankfurt, but there's no ATC. There's obviously Germany don't show up as having ATC on Vatsim because they've changed their centre name since Vatsim was updated last, which was years ago, like 10 years. So but they're not showing up on the nearby controllers list either. Copenhagen controllers showing up and Sweden controllers showing up. There was no events on this morning, which I was a bit disappointed about. Loads of events last night, but this morning, absolutely nothing. But at the moment, we have Birmingham to ourselves anyway. So yeah, now we can just chill out. Let's do a quick cabin tour, So we need to go up here, and oh, these need to be set to USB, I think. I don't know why, but I just like them to be set to that because it means that you get something on the display. Where is... Here it is. Door. And we can't click that. Unlocked. There we go. See their business class look. I mean, do Jet2 actually have business class? I somehow doubt they do. Aren't they a budget holiday airline? But if we head back here, we get a very nice view. It's not the same as the Jet2 kind of red livery. I prefer that livery. The kind of chrome colours. This is not that. They've got blue engine covers on this one. Also, they have in-flight entertainment. Again, not totally sure if Jet2 would actually have any of this. But look at that. So that looks lovely, doesn't it? And then the sun and the air. Look at that. Also, I wasn't intending to fly a 757 today, as in the flight from Birmingham to Prague, you only have the option of a 737, but then the flight back, you have the option of any of Jet2's aircraft. So probably a bit of a mistake, that. Right. Look. Again. So now if we try to open it, you can see it won't open. At the moment, we have got a pretty horrible wind. Currently got a headwind of about 46 knots, so not the best. We were going to have an average headwind today. We were supposed to be doing 647 miles, and then by the time we take into account the wind, it adds on an extra, like in terms of time, it adds on an extra 28 miles. Although, unfortunately, that does mean our ETA won't be the most accurate for Birmingham, because the winds in the FMC, if we have a look, are taken from the wind that is outside right now. That's what it uses to calculate the wind. If we have a look at wind, look at Roble, it'll just be the wind that is here right now, 282 at 45. Well, not quite. It's actually the wind at 340, because that's the altitude we're at. I can't add in any more, but that's a shame. Right, and then yeah, you can see it's 46 knots. I'm pretty sure that's the only wind that we can have. The only wind display we can have. I'm pretty sure we can't have anything else. Digital wind bearing, there it is. Actually, that just gets in the way. That looks really weird. I don't like that. We'll get rid of it. We'll keep it just like that, because it's a bit better like that. You can just see the speed. It doesn't know what the direction is, really, does it? I do like the 757. Also, I haven't changed the engine. We'll keep the engine info up there. Okay, that's like an engine summary page. But you can also have that up there. Everything's looking good. Obviously, we have got to keep an eye on things in this aircraft because failures are a thing in this aircraft. If we have a quick look at failures and then reports, you can see nothing's there. You can reset them if a failure happens. However, we probably won't. The ground power one, the ground power fail, I did reset that. I don't know why, but I did. I was wondering what it did. I think the button. Like whether it reset, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's only ground power, so it wouldn't have affected the flight anyway. Just meant we would like to stay on APU power once we're there. Also, a plane has just spawned in to Amsterdam Schiphol, going down to Birmingham. Although, I think we're okay because it's a TBM9. So someone's doing that presumably with the... someone's presumably doing that with the Microsoft Flight Sim aircraft. And they're going to Desig. That's their last waypoint. I don't remember seeing a Desig arrival. Nope, there is no Desig arrival at... yeah, there isn't a Desig arrival in Birmingham, so that's going direct then from Desig. Alright, Desig's up like really north. That's a weird route, is that right? From Amsterdam. It's taking a bit of a funny route. It's like going along and then like up north. That route doesn't make any sense actually. And there isn't another Desig. But yeah, there's no arrival point. Oh, there is actually. There is an arrival point. It's the Chase 3 Hotel. Although that puts you on the wrong side of Birmingham Airport for runway 33. So that's a bit weird. And then that same person's asking Amsterdam active runway. So something, obviously they're not very planned, so that's... We'll see how that works now. Obviously they're not going to go very quickly because they're in a TBM. So hopefully we'll still be able to get there before them, even though we're miles away. That's what we'll hope. Try to get every single mile in. I mean, we're only an hour and 10 minutes away from Amsterdam, so it'll probably no, from Birmingham. And if it's going to have to take a bit of a funny route, because obviously they're not using runway 15, they are still using, I believe, runway... Yep. The Scandinavian that we saw is on pretty much final approach, yeah, it's at 1,600 feet. So they're still using runway 33 down there in Birmingham. Also, I've just noticed Langen radar is online that covers Frankfurt, and we're just about to head into that airspace. Literally just about to head into it. We are actually. Oh, maybe we won't cover it. I don't know. We're going a bit more northern than that. They're the southern part, I think. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If they contact us or not. I'll get my notepad ready just in case, but. It may be the case that they don't contact us. They're on 127.725, so we'll just pre-tune them just in case. Be nice and prepared. Because we're just about to fly into their airspace, but I think they're the one that only covers like the more southern bit of their airspace in Germany. I'm not sure. I think it's on Vatsim, Germany. I don't think it is anywhere. No, there's nothing really. Alright, 480 miles to Birmingham. That person hasn't taken off yet in the TBM, so let's see what happens. I do wonder about their route as well. I think that's a bit of a strange route to come in. Like, you're coming from Amsterdam, which is south of Birmingham, just. It's actually kind of level with Birmingham, but it's just south. But they're approaching it from far north. The Scandinavians just touched down on runway 33, so they are using 33. Oh, actually, I say that, but the KLM from Amsterdam, look, has come from the north. Although I wonder if this plane's... I think this plane's GPS is a bit broken because, yeah, that definitely didn't happen. Or that. Or that. Or, yeah, this plane's GPS is clearly a little bit dodgy, maybe. I have noticed that on some of the Embraer aircraft. on flight radar. Maybe it's how they transmit doesn't agree with what do you call it? Flight radar in the same way. But yeah, they are using runway 33 down there. So yeah, they are approaching from the north, and that's fine. It's just they don't use the star or anything. They don't use any of that. Right, we're only 474 miles to go. Obviously, the closer we get to Birmingham, the better, really, because it means we're less likely to be interfered by that other aircraft. And then we'll wait and see if Germany do contact us. The thing is, we are now in their airspace. According to Vatsim, which we can't really trust because obviously Germany's kind of changed all their airspaces. That's why it doesn't show up when Germany have full control online. I'll see if Simaware has, because that's another Vatsim map. I'll see if that knows. There you go, yeah. So we are actually in their airspace. The thing is, they've only been online 4 minutes apparently, according to Simaware. So maybe it won't be. But apparently we are in their airspace. Yeah, we are just in their airspace. Although I said they are only covering a certain bit of their airspace, so it may not be close enough. But yeah, I think we'll be in Birmingham before that KLM. If it takes, which you know, according to this, it takes a good but according to this, it does take a good a good hour to go from Amsterdam to Birmingham. Just under an hour in an Embraer jet. So. Yeah, that plane's GPS, I think, from Amsterdam is bugging out. It's flight radar thinks it's in the middle of a street now for some reason. It bugged out. I don't know, if I refresh the website, it probably knows where it is now. And who knows? And there's an Aer Lingus just taking off to go into Dublin from Birmingham, and I don't know where the next arrival is. Basically, I'm just trying to keep an eye on Birmingham because I don't want them to switch runways if I can help it. Okay, there's a plane inbound from Istanbul in about 20 minutes, and then there isn't another plane then for about 40 minutes, so that'll probably be the last one we have as reference. Although I think the KLM has actually registered as landed now. It's like disappeared from the tracking thing. Well, they're saying that the live tracking information is being even more weird. The playback of the aircraft, so who knows. Shamrock's just lining up now, getting ready to take off. In fact, it is taking off, doing a very quick takeoff. I think flight radar's being a bit funny, like, the planes aren't updating as often as they normally do either. Okay, so now, so the Aer Lingus looked at ages to register that it was taking off, so I think something went a bit weird with their tracking. Doesn't matter. No. Okay. That shamrock's taken off. Yeah, in the chat the answer is no to that one. 440 miles to Birmingham. I hope everyone is enjoying the stream, obviously. The TBM ban for Birmingham still hasn't taken off yet, so I think we'll be there before it, which is great. And that's what we want. Anyway, for a little outside look, I think, at the plane. It looks very nice down there. It's not very cloudy over Germany today, though, compared to everywhere else. This Jet2 livery isn't my favourite. I prefer the kind of grey and red one, but don't really mind. Winds have died down a little bit now, which is kind of nice. Someone's in the area, they're going from Copenhagen to Amsterdam, and their call sign is Lazy 411. I don't think that's an actual airline. Lazy. Hope everyone is enjoying the stream. I've had 10 playbacks today. That's nice. Encourage everybody to hit that sub button if they are enjoying. Also, the iRacing videos have been doing very well at the moment. The Ferrari GT3 at Lime Rock did really well. That's nice. All of the iRacing videos, in fact, are typically getting about 20 views after a good week, which is really nice. It doesn't appear that the German control centre are contacting us. We're about to leave their airspace now anyway, so obviously we weren't quite in their airspace. It's weird, honestly, Amsterdam's packed at the moment. It's like all jammed together planes. At the moment, we do still have Birmingham to ourselves then, because that plane hasn't taken off just yet. And I don't think it will be there before us, because it's a good, almost 300-mile journey, and we've only got 420 miles to go. And remember that, obviously, I'm going a good 100 knots quicker than a TBM will at cruise, once it gets to cruise, and then in the climb, it's really slow, the TBM. It takes ages to reach that cruise, cruise altitude anyway. It'll take it 20 minutes. And then the most you're going to get out of it is probably about 330 knots at cruise. That's like the very quickest it'll go. Obviously, meanwhile, I'm up here doing 440, and because of the wind, it's a bit slow. But the same wind that affects me will affect the TBM. Although it is cruising a bit lower, I guess. No word on our top of descent yet. The 757 doesn't tell you when your top of descent is until you're 200 miles away from it, so we won't know an ETA for that just yet. Let's just grab a quick look at our estimated kind of arrival routing. So you can see here, look, we just head from Hemel direct into the ILS, and it's a very nice little approach then. into the airport. Let's get the charts all set up now, actually, why not? So ILS 33, airport chart, parking stands, and that's all we need. There's no star for today. Lands on runway 33, we'll try and vacate at Delta. It's actually an old runway, I think, although I don't think we'll make it. I think we'll need to go to Bravo. And then parking stands will take, I don't know, I took off from stand 12. I don't know where Jet2 parks. I honestly don't know where they park, just somewhere close to the terminal. Maybe I've got Sandwell Jetways as well, so maybe maybe I'll park by a jetway so I can demonstrate that. In terms of the ILS runway 33, the course is going to be set to 326, by the way. I always thought that was where you put in the ILSs. It isn't. It's down here. This one here, look, this thing. Okay. Rip. Oh, there you go. So you need to hit that thing in the right place, right? 110.1, and the course is 326. And I went the wrong way there on the scroll wheel. Never mind. 326. So that's set in there. You can't set standby frequencies, so that's just the best we can do with that one. And minimums, again, this thing doesn't appear to have barrow minimums. Maybe it does, and I just can't find out how to get it onto that one. But it only seems to have decision height, which obviously is not as accurate. It uses radio, and it's practically always 200. I know this isn't barrow, because if you try to scroll it above, I think it's about 1800. There you go. If you try to scroll it above 2000, look, it doesn't let you. And obviously barrow can go as high as about 8,000, because that's how high the Earth goes. So it obviously isn't that. But I haven't found an option to change it in the settings, so obviously it doesn't matter. Right. Lots of ATC today, just none in our area, which is a shame. Normally the UK is quite busy for ATC, but nothing today. No one in the UK feels like doing ATC today, I guess. Right, let's get this off plan mode again. And back into normal mode. Next waypoint is Domeg. After that, it's actually a good 139 miles to our next waypoint, so we've got a bit of time going in one direction again. We are now about to cross over. Actually, no, a little bit, yeah. We'll be crossing over into the Netherlands, but that's not until a little bit later, I don't think. ETA in Birmingham is now, you can see, look, based on the winds, look, it's not the most accurate of ETAs, so it's now saying 1103, and it was saying 1101 earlier. It's a bit of a shame. As I said, the other FMC allows you to enter in the wind, but this one doesn't. But what it does allow you to do is have V-speeds. And it also gives you things like the ILS frequency, and it just generally works a bit better. So, you know, it's kind of like giving up one thing for the sake of a better FMC. It's a bit of a pain, but so, I mean, I don't even know which FMC 737 actually 757 used it real life. I think it's probably a bit of both, depending on which one you were in. That's why there's so many config options. Because obviously some 757s are a bit more modern. It's 757, one of those planes. I think the first ones were quite old. But I don't know what year they made them up until, but I think the very newest ones, they're quite old, but they're not like really old. So you can see, there you go. So the last one was delivered in 2005, but the first one was 1981. So, yeah, the last one delivered, I think they built it. They finished building it in 2004, but it was delivered in 2005. So 2005 was the last official one. And that is, so you know, that's only a 16-year-old aircraft. It's quite old, but it's not really old. But then obviously 1980, it's quite old. You know, it's only 10 years newer than the oldest 747. So it is quite an old aircraft. That's why you get that IRS nav only message quite often. It doesn't have a proper GPS sometimes. Right, is there a top of a descent thing on there? No, nope, still no. It'll be about 20 minutes from when that message pops up, just over 20 minutes until our descent when that message pops up. So, you know, we've only been in the air 43 minutes actually, so we've probably got a bit longer to go. Probably got a good hour left. I'll just keep an eye as well on the, I said now, the ETA's not saying that. So maybe we're a bit ahead of time, because the route I got planned, actually, yeah, the route I got planned is using the Boltu 3 Bravo, not the 4 Alpha, although that's actually a shorter route, I think. The route in the end was, I think it was 1 mile shorter than the one I picked in the end, looking at what Simbury says, so it's about the same route length. We're supposed to hit Dome at 47 minutes into the flight. We're going to be hitting it 45 minutes into the flight, so yeah, we are a good 2 minutes ahead of schedule, which is really nice. Nice when that happens. 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Oh, there you go. Okay, so the plane to Birmingham has just left the ground in Schiphol. At the moment, it's going to be there 50 minutes behind us. That's because it's going really slowly, although its ground speed will only pick up another kind of 150 knots. So it's not like a normal aircraft that gains time really like loads. Also, our speed's going to be increasing, look, because we're going to turn left now a little bit, which will get us a bit more ground speed. We'll probably be going about 5 knots quicker, something like that. It's not a lot, but it matters. So we're doing 414. Now it's 416. You can see it's going to start up even more, 417. So it's going 3 knots quicker, which is only a couple of miles an hour, but it's an extra 4 nautical miles an hour, 5 nautical miles an hour. So it, yeah, it's a little bit. Every little helps with the trying to beat that TBM into Birmingham. I don't know why I'm so like that, but I am. Right, come on, let's beat it. Right, yeah, there you go. The plane coming in from Istanbul is basically, yes, it's at 15,000 feet currently, doing its approach into the airport. I think they're still using runway 33. Wind just now variable at 2 knots. It's overcast though, overcast. That means thick at 300 feet. So we're going to have some low visibility action here today, I think. Why does the cabin call keep happening? It's weird.
I have nothing to say, sir. Is there anything you want?
Wait, what? When they bong you and you answer, they actually talk?
Yes, sir. Still nothing to say.
That's mad. So when they bong you and you press it, they actually talk. That's crazy. Right, next time they talk, we're answering that. I want to see what they do. That's mad. That's pretty cool. I love that. It's things like X-Plane. You know, X-Plane does allow the developers to do things that are a little bit more unusual, a bit more fun like that. FSX doesn't really have this, you know, it's not new enough to have all that kind of stuff in it. Right, the TBM is speeding up, and it says it's now going to be there only 24 minutes behind us, which is worrying, because it's still got quite a bit to speed up. Obviously, I'm 100 miles behind it right now. So they go. So they press the button, look.
Sir, I think you might have forgotten about the cabin safety routine.
What? Is that what they keep bonging me about? Cabin safety routine. What's that? Can I actually do that? I don't even think I can do that. Can I? These are okay. These are. Tell me, so don't tell me I need to do that on the checklist. Wait, hang on a minute, the isolation switch is supposed to be turned off before taxi. Rip. That's cool then, so there's we'll use those next time. I didn't realise we had that. I didn't realise we had those. I didn't realise it was a proper interactive checklist like that, so you press it, and it knows whether you've done it or not.
I have nothing to say, sir. Is there anything you want?
Okay, the speed's actually up to 426 knots now, so yeah, we're going a bit quicker, which is nice. I didn't realise it had those checklists. We'll have to use those. Cool. Okay, so the TPM seems to have stalled at about 200 knots. Climbing, it's at 6,000 feet only at the moment, so it's not a quick aircraft. The thing is, if I get stuck right behind it on approach, that's going to be a pain. Why do they keep calling me?
So, shouldn't I start the cabin safety demonstration?
Yeah, how do I tell it yes? How do I tell it yes, do the safety demonstration? Or is that just a... Maybe I'm taking this seriously and it's actually just meant as like a... PA, here you go. Oh! So hang on a minute, there is a safety demonstration that I have to do.
I have nothing to say, sir.
I wonder if he'll still...
Is there anything you want?
That's interesting, so I wonder if they'll keep bugging me now after I've done that. Let's open the cabin door. Can we hear? Well, they finished their announcement now. Well, hopefully then, now we've done a safety demonstration. We press that button. They won't like whinge about it. So I'll have to keep this tablet on my second monitor from now on. Yeah, luckily that TBM is actually losing speed now. Like, the TBM's like that. It is a very slow aircraft. So as it climbs, it loses a lot of speed. So it's currently only doing 186 knots while we're doing 440. So we'll overtake it. Okay, weirdly, the Turkish Airlines plane that is landing in Birmingham is actually going round. So I wonder if it's using... Oh, never mind, it seems to be doing a little loop. I wonder if it was... I think it was too high, maybe, so it's doing a little kind of loop. But not the star loop, a different kind. How many? It might be doing the star, actually. Imagine there was actually a plane following a star at Birmingham, because they don't normally do that, I'm positive. Yes, I don't think the star quite goes that way. I think it's... No, it doesn't. Oh, the star doesn't go that way, though. There is no star that goes that same way that it's going. It didn't do the same turn, and it didn't, you know, it's heading off in the wrong direction away from the airport. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's looping round. I think it was too high. It doesn't really matter anyway, whatever's going on with it. I think it's using that time I think it was too high, so it's like, it's doing basically like a hold. And then it's going to loop back round again, that's what it was doing. Who knows why. Still only doing 186 knots, that plane, while we're doing 430, so we'll be in Birmingham way before it if that keeps up. Our top of descent should have appeared. There it is. Look, top of descent, like, in about 19 minutes, or 160 miles. That means we're descending pretty soon. Then you can see there is the ground down there. Oh, it's a little airfield, look. Not a lot there. Probably an air base or something. We are right on the border between Germany and Amsterdam, so it's probably that. Something to do with that. Yeah, no ATC today, sadly. Doesn't seem. Weirdly, there's nothing. Oh, wait a minute. Birmingham ATC has just come online. Runway in use 33. QNH 1027. Information Tango. Alright, nice. So they've literally just come online and confirmed that they are using 33 down there. So that's cool. So we might get some ATC yet then. At the moment, we are going to be in Birmingham half an hour earlier than that TBM, so it looks like it's almost certain we're going to pass it, which is good. I mean, why is that plate turning slightly right? Was there like was there a weather update maybe? That's probably what it was. It does do that sometimes. And weirdly, now I've done a semi demonstration, the cabin haven't alerted me at all. Interesting. So it does mean we might have some ATC then when we get closer into Birmingham. That'll be nice. Birmingham Tower was on 118.3. However, I can't see that com because the thing is in the way. There we go. 118.3. So that'll be nice if we do get down there. Obviously, there's no plane due to get to Birmingham for, like, I'm the first plane. I'm half an hour away, so I don't know what the controller's thinking of doing for half an hour. Like, that Turkish Airlines just did a little loop, and then it is now descending into Birmingham Airport. Runway 33, so they are still using 33 down there. There's not going to be another arrival now for absolutely ages, so I think that's about it, really. And the TBM is still only doing 200 knots. Now, I'd like to be an airline pilot, but I'm not at the moment. No. Be nice, though. Right. Hope everyone watching is enjoying the stream, obviously. Might do a bit of flight simming. Obviously, a lot of the channel on my channel recently has been iRacing related, hasn't it? I did that little bit on Forza Motorsport as well. I didn't get many views that, but it was alright. It was just a bit of fun, that. I do quite like Forza Motorsport 7. It's a bit more of a chilled out game. Although the racing when it isn't ghosted can be a little bit bad. I'm just sitting here now wondering if that Birmingham Tower will stay online long enough. I don't understand why a controller does that though. Like, why would you connect in Birmingham and then discover that there's not a plane due for 35 minutes and then still stay online? Do they just go and do something else while they're waiting? Like, 35 minutes is a long time. I guess it's because the thing is, Heathrow, actually Gatwick isn't taken, so I don't know, they could do Gatwick. Gatwick Tower's not online, so who knows. Anyway, can't on to the descent yet, can it? I mean, okay, 13 minutes and then we're descending into the airport. We'll just check that all the restrictions that are in there are correct. Obviously no starter day, just direct 2,000 or above at CFA3, then the glide slope starts at 2,000 there, 5 miles out. Yeah, that's fine. So that's correct, and that's where the ILS starts as well. The waypoint we've got in there, so that's perfect, all fine. Let's do a little test actually. I'll start Pro ATC. Now I know it's not technically compatible with X-Plane, but I wonder if it would, because it's not technically compatible with Microsoft Flight Sim either, and yet it works. Although X-Plane does work totally differently, so I have a feeling. Yeah, unable to connect. That's a shame. Oh well. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it's able to connect to. No, it can't connect to X-Plane. Oh well. I didn't think it did work with X-Plane. Check. Alright, the TBM is now coming up to cruise altitude, although it's still doing 200 knots ground speed and it's going the wrong way. So we're going to be there before, I think. We've almost passed it now anyway, and we're obviously doing double the speed of it. I think the waypoint's appearing on our screen now. As we get closer, we're just about to cross over the English Channel. I mean, I'm not sure where the English Channel turns into the North Sea, because it's kind of the same thing. Like, where does it change from the English Channel to the North Sea? It's kind of... yeah. I do wonder why the max speed gauge flickers like that on the 757 though. It does look a bit weird. It does it quite a bit. I'm not sure whether it does that in real life, but it's a bit weird. Okay, yeah, the TBM is basically at cruise altitude, although it's still weirdly only doing... I'm positive you can do more than 200 ground speed once you're up at cruise, like 28,000 feet. It's normally able to do more than, unless they're just doing a really quick climb and then speeding up, which would be a bit weird, but because you know, slower. But it doesn't matter anyway, because I think it's going to approach Birmingham from the wrong side. It's going to do like a desert arrival, which is coming in from, I don't know, that's what I mean. There are some UK airports like that, and I just don't quite understand why they're like that. Like I guess in real life it's because they're built for vectors. Like, you do an arrival and then you get dumped on the wrong side of the airport at the end of it. Like, actually the wrong side of the airport. I think they just get vectors in real life, don't they, after a certain point. But obviously, I said in Flight Sim universe, where there's not always ATC, it's not possible. Okay, the TBM now it's at cruise is suddenly going a lot quicker and looking like it's going to maybe get to Birmingham at the same time as us, although when it starts heading the wrong way towards Birmingham, I think that might change. Yeah, its speed is now rapidly increasing. It's going to be there about 10 minutes before us, apparently, still, though, even at 270 knots. So, I think we're still going to be there before it. Lots of planes, actually, in the area. So we have a Polot 737 MAX heading to Gatwick. That's that one. And a Cessna Citation, I think that is. Yeah, a lot of people I think are using the new flight sim and then doing like on-air company stuff and just random flights like that. So that's that one there at 35,000, and then the other one there is a Lufthansa going down to Los Angeles at 34,000 feet. That's quite low. And apparently it's a 34,000 feet all flight. That's a bit weird for A350, and this is like really heavy. Okay, the TBM's now up to 300 knots, although it's still going to be 10 minutes behind us, so even at that, it's because it's going in the wrong direction. I think it's actually starting to head further away from Birmingham now, rather than closer to it. There's our top of descent, look, there's our top of descent point, so not far to go. Oh yeah, there's a Skyways on there, look. Skyways 5100. So I think people are doing Skyways and then like naming after their own, like their Skyways call sign rather than the flight that they're doing call sign. I find that weird. I don't know why people do that. Although weirdly, that Skyways that's connected on Vatsim isn't actually on. So they're obviously flying on Vatsim but not tracking it. That's a bit weird. Yeah, lots of Skyways everywhere. It's very popular, Skyways. Which is nice. Right, 315 knots that TBN's doing, but because it's now heading away from Birmingham slightly, it's kind of not really improving its ETA a lot. So we're still going to be there a couple of minutes before it, which is great, because if we were stuck with a TBN in front of us, obviously on final approach, it's very slow on final approach. Like I'm saying that this 757 is actually quite slow on final. I have noticed. They're going to be using flaps 30 anyway. But yeah, on final approach, it is a very slow aircraft unless you really have it heavily loaded. I was landing in Madrid once, about last week, and it was cargo, so Fly UK wanted it to be fully loaded with cargo, like, it was absolutely full, it was the maximum it could take, so it was very heavy, so when landing it was like that. I don't know what altitude I was supposed to be at in this flight. 38 according to well, although it's still picked up that I was cruising at 36,000. Hopefully we can have a pretty smooth landing. This airline tracks our landing, and when I was landing in Prague I had a terrible landing because well, it was kind of my fault. I forgot to tune the right nav frequency because the last minute I swapped my runway. And when I checked the chart, I was positive that the ILS was the same frequency, just a different course. I guess I read it wrong the first time. I don't know. But yeah, so I ended up kind of missing the runway because it was in really bad weather as well. So yeah, basically low visibility and no ILS. It's not a good combination. But hopefully the weather down in Birmingham will pick up. The last Metal report, there should be a new one in about 5-10 minutes. But the last Metal report was not good. So, you know, visibility is only 2,200 metres and it's overcast at 300 feet. So it's, you know, obviously not very good considering the minimum is 200 feet. So we've got to hope that the clouds do start to rise a little bit, because obviously it was broken earlier. It's now overcast is even thicker. Although I do wonder, because at the moment it looks quite clear. We're obviously not that far from Birmingham. We're only 40 miles actually from descending. We're going to set our descent to 2,000 feet. And then the plane will just... also, I'm going to turn the range down on this thing, because we've got a lot of waypoints coming up on this airway. You can see later on, look. 5 mile, 4 mile, 2 mile, 4 mile, 7 mile, 2 mile. How can you have 2 miles between waypoints? I don't get it. Like, how can you actually have a distance that short? What's the point? Why do airways like that exist? Who knows? It doesn't matter, whatever it is. See, there's our top of descent popping up on the little map. About 35 miles away, I suspect. 38. So unlike the 737, when this thing says that it has a range of 40 miles on its map, it actually does. Good. Okay, the TBM is now going to be in Birmingham 8 minutes behind us. Obviously, we're going 140 knots quicker than it, so we are going to be... You know, it's quite a noticeable speed gap, isn't it? So... And it's still, obviously, it's still going to be heading to the north of Birmingham, remember? Compared to us, we're just heading straight in to Birmingham. Our speed seems to have dropped a little bit. We should still be going Mach 7.7, so I don't know why. Actually, no, maybe it's just like a turbulence or something. Cause, but weirdly as well, after I did the safety demonstration, the cabin have stopped calling us, which is good. So that's obviously what that constant boing noise was throughout all my flights I did in this plane, so we'll make sure that we do that on all the other flights to make sure we don't get constantly bonged by the cabin crew. It's actually quite annoying. Yeah, we've been at cruise for about 50 minutes-ish. So it's almost an hour at cruise like the first flight I did from Birmingham to Prague. Pretty normal. Pretty good. And I think, yeah, we're basically even now in terms of distance to Birmingham with the TBM, in terms of direct distance, which means that even now I think we would end up beating it, even if it's suddenly like went direct to Birmingham or suddenly went a little bit quicker. Well, it can't go that much quicker. It's got a ground speed of 326 knots, which, as I said earlier, I think about 332 knots-ish is about the maximum you're going to get out of the TBM, unless you have a really strong tailwind. Although Microsoft Flight Sim being Microsoft Flight Sim, it sometimes takes a tailwind as you're overspeeding and forces you to slow down. I don't know why, that's how the physics in that game work. If there's a strong tailwind, it forces you to go slower. It's not quite how that works. Indicated airspeed and ground speed are two different things. Just not apparently to Microsoft Flight Sim, they're not. Okay, found a message from our FMC telling us to reduce MCP altitude, so down to 2,000. This thing does like to start its descent a little bit early, just before it's planned to start descending. This plane normally goes idle power, so it can plan its descent, so it does that. We just passed Zaman, hour and 14 minutes. So we were 2 minutes early last time we checked. This time we are 2 minutes early still. So we're on course to be about 2 minutes early in to Birmingham. ETA is now 11:04, so that's evidence that this FMC isn't great at calculating times with its wind calculations. They don't properly exist. Obviously it was 11:01 when we set off, so... Doesn't really matter though, does it? Right, so the plane's now, you can see here it idles itself. I don't know why, but it likes to slow down before it starts to descend. It's a bit weird. It's how this 5 does it, and then you can see 3 miles to start with descent, and then it'll begin its descent then. So you can see it will slow down like to 240 knots, max 7.3. It does slow down to about max 7.3 on the descent. It's a bit unusual. I don't quite know why it does it. It's why it gets you to set the MTP altitude earlier than a 737 would do, so it can prepare the descent. And there we go, down we go. And transition altitude down in Birmingham is, we can't preset the QNH in this aircraft either, we have to wait. Information Victor at the moment, QNH 1027. So okay, the winds are now 320 at 2 knots. Oh dear, it's broken at 200 feet. It's broken at 200 feet in the clouds. That is not good. We can do, however, an auto land in this airport. We can do a Cat 3 approach with a decision height of 50. So I think we might do that. I think we might do the Cat 3. So down to 50 on here, and we'll do an auto land because that weather looks quite bad. So it's probably, you know, and yeah, luckily we are certified for Cat 3 operations, the airport is, so that's good. So we'll do that. And we've got 136 miles to go, so I wonder if we're descending a bit early, considering there's not a single altitude restriction on the entire route, but I guess the 757 knows what it's doing, right? Hopefully. Hopefully it knows what it's doing. And transition altitude, we'll just set that. What I was going to look at actually. Transition altitude is, oh, hang a minute, it's not on the ATIS. That's weird. Why is it not on the ATIS? Okay, that's a bit strange. It's not on the text ATIS. So is it not done by ATC at this airport? It's meant to be 6,000, so I'll go with 7,500. It's what they normally use. If the transition level is 6,000 in the UK, it's what ATC tend to use. I'll just grab the ATIS in the controller information from here. Right, okay, yeah, for some reason there's no transition level on the ATIS. It doesn't matter. Information Victor at the moment, but it's from an hour ago. Yeah, overcast 300 feet. Temperature is actually 1 degree, so it's gone into positive temperature now. Which is positive, I guess. Yeah, 1 degree. It's broken at 200 feet that I'm worried. It is only broken now, though. Broken isn't as thick as overcast, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, the plane from Amsterdam's actually heading kind of back away from Amsterdam a little bit, so it's kind of away from Birmingham a little bit. It's heading closer, but I'm going to beat it to. Also, the wind seems to have changed now, so we're now getting a tailwind, which is nice. So even though we've slowed down for the descent, we're actually going quicker than we were before. Although I did wonder about how. I think we're descending too early. Like 2,000 feet per minute. 2,000 feet per minute times 20, which is how long it's going to take us to get to Birmingham. You know, 2,000 times 20, we're going to be able to descend 40,000 feet in that time. So, I wonder if the plane has done that correctly. Hopefully it'll, I mean, it does need to level off. Remember when we get to 10,000 feet to slow down, and we're going to be adding on a good couple of hundred feet when we go onto the new pressure, but I do wonder if it's correct. Maybe the very large amount of waypoints is kind of freaking it out a bit. I mean, we're only doing about we're actually only doing 1,800 feet per minute, so I'll put in 1,800 times 20. Although it's still, you know, it's still gonna be 36,000 feet, yeah. So it's still, I think, still a little bit off. And we are currently doing, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully this plane has planned it okay and it doesn't mess up. If it does, never mind. I've never had any issues with it before, though. I've done quite a few flights in this plane now, so it should be alright. Touch wood. Fingers crossed, all that. We're only 108 miles away anyway, it's not that far. Should we direct to the ILS from here? Might make our life a bit easier. No, it means that we can't ease on. That's the bonus of going from Hemel. You actually get to really ease on to the ILS, like it's a set approach. I guess that's why they use Hemel as an approach point, because they definitely don't use much in the way of actual approach points in Birmingham. Oh, there's a Jet2 doing circuits at Birmingham. That's obviously like to get the flight time. Each aircraft has to have like a certain amount of flight time, and obviously they're not being used. They have to just fly them circuits. It's the easiest way of doing it. $100 miles to go to Birmingham. Obviously, things like the radio frequencies and all that, they're all set now. The nav frequencies for landing, 110.1 and 326. We'll set our heading to 326 actually. Why not? I'm not going to be using it again. I do worry that we are slightly too low though. 96 miles and we're at 23,000 feet. Yes, I don't know why the plane would have messed up our descent. Like, there has no reason to. So, we're 17 miles away, like 17 minutes from Birmingham, and we're doing 1,700 feet per minute at the moment. So 1,700 times 17, you know, that's 29,000 feet, and we're at 23. So I don't think this is quite accurate. Just got to hope that it does know what it's doing by the time we actually get close to landing. I'm sure it's planned it out okay. It's probably just because we're going, you know, with no altitude restrictions, no nothing. Just what it's normally like. Someone with the world's quietest mic is talking there. Right, auto brake civil set them to 2. I just need to check actually that I have got a button mapped to what do you call it? There you go. Hold reverse thrust at max. So we should have reversers. Obviously, whether we do or not, we'll wait and see. If we don't, we'll test them out once we land and try and find the appropriate. I'm still testing with X-Plane in terms of control configurations because they have been a little bit tricky. Because of how each plane has its own set of controls. Information Whiskey is now current down in Birmingham. So yeah, information whiskey down in Birmingham. At the moment it is very foggy, so we'll probably be doing a Cat 3 landing, I think. Right, passing Lambourne now, heading to Hemel. We can though go direct to the ILS, I think. As that will... And you can see, look, it hasn't updated its vertical profile, really, to deal with that. So obviously we were a little bit high before, because I've just shortened a couple of miles off the route. No, we're still going to set 326, remember, so you can see we're a very nice course now to intercept the ILS later. Yeah, but on a very nice course for that. And we are still 73 miles away. 12 minutes. So 12 minutes times 1600 feet per minute is 19,000 feet we can drop. So we're still a little bit off, although it's better. It's definitely better. So see what handles it later. But going to, yeah, okay. I think I believe it that Birmingham's got thick cloud. Look at this. I think we're going to be in a layer of cloud on this landing. We're probably going to need anti-ice if it's that cold. And obviously it's not going to get a chance to melt the ice once we're in Birmingham. It only being 1 degree down there and the cloud being right until touchdown. And yeah, fog, 1,100 metres visibility, so pretty horrible weather. So we're going to do an auto land, definitely now. Obviously you need to enable both autopilots for that. Obviously it won't let us do that right now because we haven't got approach turned on. And then a little message should pop up there saying land 3. And that will tell us basically that the plane is landing itself like we want it to. Well, I don't know when we're going into these clouds, but just before we do, I would like to turn the anti-ice on. Because I think it will be needed. Is it on the checklist, like when you use... So you can see, how do I know, look? So pressurisation, oh, I need to set it to landing altitude, don't I? Landing altitude in Birmingham, airport altitude 340 is Birmingham's elevation. So that means that the pressure should now adjust to Birmingham. Right, seatbelt signs can come on. Now we're at 15,000 feet, why not? It's not quite time to put on the anything else yet, but it'll take a screenshot quickly. Shift and space to do it in X-Plane. F12, like you would do in Steam, doesn't do anything, even though this is a Steam game. And, oh, the Steam overlay doesn't work in this game either, yeah, so this game is... Even though you run it from Steam, it's totally detached from Steam, it seems. Right, 56 miles to go. I think we are a little bit too high, maybe, although apparently it's 9 minutes it'll take us, so not long. And then, yeah, we're going, any time now we'll be going into this thick cloud. And we probably won't come out of it until we've touched down. In fact, even when we have touched down, we probably will still be in the cloud, I think. It's that kind of weather today. We're going to see the runway at the last minute. That's why we're doing an auto land. So we won't get to see, I mean, hopefully it'll be a smooth landing at least, if the autopilot's doing it for us, but... You can see up there, but it does look like there's a slight lift in the clouds, so maybe we might get lucky and end up in a little patch of Birmingham that doesn't have much in the way of cloud. But yeah, 48 miles to the ILS now. This is the world's slowest descent. I think this plane could have descended a bit later without the need to do this. It's probably because of cost index 6 though, that's the thing. Having a low cost index does mean that you do a very slow descent quite early, because it obviously, you know, if you're at idle power while descending, you're using less fuel. And it climbs a bit quicker, so when you're at cruise, you can be there for longer. So basically, yeah, it tries to use as little engine power as possible. So it's just like that. So I suspect that's why. We're about to go into the clouds now, I think. So we'll get the anti-ice turned on, because I think we're going to need it. And we're going to need to start slowing down soon as well. Well, we're at 270 knots, so we haven't got a lot to slow down. Also, to arm spoilers in X-Plane, it is 3 and 4 on the numpad. Not numpad, on the numbers above the letters. Just the numbers, 1 to 0. Alright, passing below 11,000 feet at 10,000 feet landing lights, so we'll do the landing lights now. And the plane should start to slow down. We're only 40 miles from the ILS now, so not long. Obviously we do have Birmingham Tower online, which is nice, very nice, that we do at least have some ATC today. Remember, QNH 1027, and that is to be set as soon as we are. Okay, time to slow down now. Speed brake's full, and you can see there's the max speed. In the same way it went up earlier, it's going down now as we pass below 10,000 feet. Don't want to be above 250 knots if we can help it. There we go, just in time, so that this Pegasus client doesn't whinge at us about it, because I think it does do that. Weirdly, we're not quite in the clouds yet. Quite low clouds, obviously, these. And there you go, we can see the ILS on our nav display, so we're only 35 miles, not far to go. Only got to descend 7,000 feet, although it is going to do a very slow descent now. Landing speed is 127, so very low landing speed, as you'd expect in this thing. It's always like that. We're going to beat the TBM. The TBM, for some reason, is still at cruising altitude, despite the fact that it's because it's heading the wrong way round. It's like it's heading a really weird way round into Birmingham. I don't know why. I guess, I mean, that's the route that the Amsterdam plane took in real life, so it's obviously just the route that they use to get to Birmingham, but I think it's a bit of a strange route. Right, kind of, I'm passing 8,000 now. Let's go down to 20 nautical mile range on there. I won't be able to see the approach anymore, but a bit better. There's practically no wind down here. We're still not in the clouds. I'm really surprised by that. Looking at the clouds, I thought we'd be in them a lot earlier. You can see there is actually a little kind of gap in the clouds, and you can see what looks like land. So I wonder if maybe the clouds have risen a little bit. There isn't a METAR report for 1050 at Birmingham just yet. Right, currently on 7,500, which is today's transition altitude. So as soon as we head below it, QNH 1027. There it is, and 1027 or 3033 if we want it to be exactly the same on the other side of the aircraft. You do it in altimeter, so there you go. But now both sides of the aircraft are equal, and we continue our descent into Birmingham. See, that's the glide slope, look, popping up there. I don't know how we've already got it. A bit weird. Obviously, we're doing an auto land today as well. I'll remember this contact tower just as we're approaching. They probably won't give us a contact me. It'll probably be us that contact them. It's normally how it works when it comes to tower on Vatsim. And we're heading through this wall of cloud, although weirdly, look, you can almost see through to the other side, look, where there's no cloud. So I do wonder if once we pass this wall of cloud, maybe it won't be so bad for visibility. Who knows? We'll see what it's like. Obviously, explains live weather may not be 100% accurate, or maybe, you know, the METAR is from 40 minutes ago now, so maybe things will have changed a little bit in that time. Because obviously the clouds did move to broken. They were overcast for about an hour, and then they became broken again, which means that they are slightly less thick. So if that was beginning to happen to them when the METAR came out, they might be completely clear by the time we get down there. Just don't know. But at the moment, it's still Information Whiskey down in Birmingham, so that's the one that we're going to contact the controller with. 19 miles to go now, so we're going to be heading straight on. It'll be a great place to intercept the localizer where we're heading from. So you can see there, look, that actually looks quite clear. I'm surprised. I thought we'd need to do an auto land, but that looks really clear. So actually, back up to 200 then, we'll do a manual landing. Either the METAR is wrong, or X-Plane Live Weather is wrong, but that doesn't look that bad. What's the 1050 report? Because X-Plane might be using that, if it's got it, because it's probably already out, just not available on here. I'll try and search it online. Normally you can get it a bit quicker there. On windy.com, normally they have the METARs a little bit quicker. I don't know how, but normally they're available there, because it doesn't have to go through a server, I guess. And yeah, winds it's overcast at 300 still, according to the latest METAR, but that doesn't look that bad to me, unless it's going to suddenly appear, because clouds can suddenly appear when you approach them. They like suddenly, I don't know, maybe it's X-Plane Live Weather messing up, who knows. I am using live weather, right? Let's just check. Yeah, match real world conditions. It is turned to do that, so it's a little bit weird. Apparently, X-Plane does read sometimes the METARs from an hour ago. Although, weirdly, you know, an hour ago, Birmingham was still coated in cloud. So that wouldn't make any difference. Well, turns out we have an easier approach then. I mean, maybe we have just got lucky, obviously, as clouds move around. You know, if we were in that patch, if Birmingham was in that patch of weather 10 minutes ago, which it probably was, that's very low, that cloud. Because obviously METARs only take a reading at a specific time. Every half an hour, a little beam goes around the sky and takes a reading. And then that's the METAR. You know, so if the clouds happen to be especially bad at that exact time, that's why sometimes, you know, at an airport, you get two planes approaching at very similar times. One of them will have to go around because it couldn't see the runway, and another one lands no problem because weather's like that. It's kind of a bit of luck. Sometimes, in fact, actually, I think we're going to do a visual. I've just not visual. We're going to do an auto land. I've just noticed, though. Also, the weather radar wasn't on all flight. Rip. Doesn't really matter, I guess. But that does look like cloud look. That is very close. Right, when we're 10 miles out from Birmingham, we need to wait till we're established, then we contact tower. But that looks like cloud surrounding Birmingham. So this area is a little bit free of cloud, and then the cloud appears again. It seems like. Right, what's the go-around altitude here in Birmingham? It is 3,000 feet. So once we're established, we'll set that there. One last check of the ATIS before we contact the tower. It is still Information Whiskey. We're going to go over to tower frequency now on 118.3. Not going to talk just yet. Alright, select speed, go 200 knots. I'm going to go flaps 1. and 5, just as we get the plane slowed down to 180 knots now, I think. And yeah, I can't see anything. You can see we are going into an area of quite thick cloud, so makes sense. Right, approach armed then. We'll wait to pick up that. And yeah, we are definitely in an area of quite thick cloud here, so I thought we might have escaped the problems of bad weather, but it doesn't seem like we have. Seems like the weather is still pretty terrible here in Birmingham. We just got quite lucky, I think, back there. The FPS will absolutely die now. I found this with X-Plane, sadly. The X-Plane, it does tend to get a bit weird, the FPS around clouds. Right. Wait until we're established, then we'll contact tower. Right, on the spoilers now, so only 3 to put them down a notch, but down a notch is up in there. Okay, we're established now. Birmingham Tower, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf, information whiskey, type 757-200, on the ILS for runway tree.
Chanex 87 Hotel Golf, Birmingham Tower, good morning to you. Surface winds are variable, 2 knots, runway 33, clear to land.
Runway 33, clear to land, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf. Okay, down to 160 knots at the moment. You know what, let's just go down to approach speed, 127 knots. Actually, we have got really lucky, so we can do our own approach, because, look at that, we can see the runway. How amazing, so that's really lucky. Got really lucky with that one. Right, 3,000, which is go around altitude, you can see we need to pick up the glide slope first. There you go, there's the glide slope. Gear down. Yeah, got really lucky there. Look, we can see the airport. So it is quite thick cloud in the area, so I can see how the METAR is thinking what it is thinking. I think we just came in a good time. Right, flaps full then for landing. Let's start to slow this thing down. Yeah, 127 is the landing speed for us today. 4 miles out from the airport. Actually, oh dear, can't see again. Yeah, this weather is being a bit weird, actually. It's very on and off. 1 minute it's terrible, and then the next minute we can see everything. Right, autopilot disengage. I think we can use the... Luckily, it's not like we're totally hidden behind cloud. I can still see a little bit. We're going to keep auto throttle in for now. I don't know whether it automatically disengages on this plane, but hopefully it does. And then hopefully this cloud will clear once we go through it, because it looked like we did see the runway for a bit there, and the runway wasn't in cloud, so I think we're okay. And you can see there, look, we're about to come out of this cloud, look, because we can see the ground. Oh dear. Never mind. Maybe I should have done an auto land. You know what? Let's go with auto land. I think I'm a bit worried now. I think, yeah, we'll go auto land. I wasn't initially going to do that, but I think it's too risky. Because this is a bit weird, actually, yeah. You can see there, auto land, land 3.
500.
Land 2 will do. Land 2, and you can see there, we can actually see the airport now, so it's a little bit hit and miss. But you can see, I think we probably could have done a manual landing, but we'll let it continue with the auto landing now, because I've already configured it to do that. It's easier. And also, knowing this approach, we might get some sudden cloud again. It's been a bit weird with the clouds just magically appearing. Here we go. Very nice automatic landing here by the plane. And you can see, I can see the runway. It is quite low cloud though, as you can see.
Minimums.
Continue.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Reverse it out, and there we go. Very smooth landing by the auto land there. I think you can hear the passengers clapping in the back. Look, and 70 knots. Reverses in. Landing lights off, and there we go. Right, APU on. Hello and welcome everybody to Birmingham. Let's go ahead and stop the clock there. And we'll vacate right up here at Bravo. and retract the speed brakes. Here you go, here's Bravo. It's just, and then we need to turn the APU gen off and on again, otherwise it freaks out at us. And all of a sudden, we haven't got nose wheel. What on earth? Why haven't we got nose wheel steering? What's going on here? Hang a minute. So the buttons that used to control my yoke. Wait, what? What's going on here? What? Oh, is it because the autopilot is still out? Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Birmingham Tower, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf is vacated on Bravo.
Chanex 87 Hotel Golf, welcome to Birmingham. Taxi Alpha Delta Victor, stand 57 right.
Alpha Delta Victor, stand 57 right, Chanex 87 Hotel Golf. And now the plane's not wanting to move. Oh, there we go. It's being okay now. So yeah, because I thought the autopilot manually disengaged there. So 57 right is the stand. Alpha Delta Victor. So we're going to head down Alpha now, and that turns into Delta, and then it's going to be a left turn onto Victor. Right, there we go. We are free of the grass, which means we should be able to get a decent. I don't know what happened there. I thought the autopilot in the Airbus, when you do an auto land, it actually disengages itself, the autopilot. But I guess in this thing, that isn't the case. No matter. Right. Weather radar can be turned off now. So it's very confusing on X-Plane, having so many different planes that all have different controls. It's a bit weird, but no, it doesn't matter. We got there in the end. Right, never mind. So taxiing down Alpha, pretty decent landing. Minus 274 got monitored by both Pegasus and smart cars, so that's good. Anti-ice can come off now. Slow down a little bit, going a bit quickly. And there we go. Flaps can be retracted now as well. And yeah, stand 57 right we're looking for. Nice to have some ATC though, isn't it? Definitely. And we've well, massively beaten the TBM to Birmingham. And flight time again, 1 hour and 44 minutes, so 4 minutes early. Wow. That's nice. And the weather's pretty accurate, because it was quite cloudy there in the end. So yeah, down Delta now, which is a small left. There it is there. Look, it's basically the same taxiway, it's just called something else because there's a slight turn, I think. There we go. Hopefully there'll be some signs on the floor telling us where gates 57 right is. I think there are anyway. Because X-Plane's default sceneries are amazing. I absolutely love X-Plane's default scenery. Right, down default, what am I about? Delta, and then onto Victor, and then it's stand 57 right. If we don't have, it's not, okay, yeah, hopefully there's markings on the floor. This is why they have markings on the floor in real life, is because it is quite confusing when you're up here trying to look for gate numbers. Yeah, there are no gate numbers, so we are going to have to partially guess here, I think. So 57 right is the last pillar that sticks out on the ground chart. So the last pillar that sticks out on the ground chart by Victor 2. Yep, so just short of Victor 2. You know, it's always good to use references on the ground chart because it's annoying. It really annoys me, but Navigraph doesn't have Navigraph doesn't have... They don't let you see your own plane on the docking chart, which really annoys me, because I think you'd be in a bit of a better chance of... So yeah, 57 right, so it's the first. There's going to be 3 quite close together up here, look. And it's the first one of those. Yeah, so this is it here, this right here. Yeah, this stand here. So there we go. Taxiing into the stand. Don't think there is a jetway here then. 57 right. Probably because Jet2 doesn't use that. Right, we'll go right to the end. There we go, idle power. And cut the right engine. There we go. Hello and welcome everybody to... we won't get a jetway. Welcome everyone to Birmingham. Very nice little flight there. And turning off the left engine, and hydraulic pumps can come off. Engine gens, all that stuff can come off. And the fuel, and there we go. Obviously just don't listen to all the alarms, we'll get loads of those as we set everything down. Right, GPU connected, shocks are set so parking brakes can be released. Stairs, GPU, don't need a fuel truck, passenger bus. Passenger bus, stairs, and we don't need anything else, do we? Oh yeah, luggage loader, that's what an LSU is. I'll have a waste unit disposal as well, why not? Airplane. All the doors can be opened. And go on to ground power. So APU off. Fuel dampers off. Window heat's off. Just everything off, basically. And there we go. I think that's everything. We'll leave the RSs in nav mode because they take forever to align. I'm not doing another flight, obviously, but to be nice to the crew that come after us, I guess. And the landing light... What landing lights? What I'm on about? How was the fuel temperature minus 12? Is that a mistake? Oh, it's probably because the engine's off now, isn't it? So there's no heat. Seatbelt signs off, and there we go. Why are there no stairs at the back of the aircraft? That's a bit weird. Alright, we won't open that door then. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? It's because the loader unit goes there, so that we don't need a loader unit, because we're not... I would like to get Jar Design's ground handling at some point, I think, so we'll do that. But there we go, that is it. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed. I love, you know, X-Plane's default scenery and everything. And there we go. Chanix 87 Hotel Golf, we're going to disconnect now. Thanks for the ATC today. Bye.
Chanix 87 Hotel Golf, thank you for flying to Birmingham. Flight plan closed at 11:18. Bye-bye.
Okay, so there we go. All good. Said bye to the ATC. That TBM is going to be touching down soonish, I think. But there we go. Actually, why is the beacon still on? I thought I'd turn that off. There we go. Beacon off. And if the jetway was in range, it would connect. However, I don't think we are in range here at this gate. I don't think we are in range of... So you can see this is the ATIS that the X-Plane is using. It's a bit out of date. So that's what X-Plane's using. It's out of date. Parking, auto mode, look, and yeah, there's nothing there. There we go. Hope everyone really enjoyed that flight. There we are. Let's get the battery turned off. That's now everything off, all cold and dark, all nice. There we go. Hope everyone really enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from the Vatsim network now. And we're going to go ahead and file our flight there on virtual Jet2. I'll have a quick look at the flight report and then we can finish. So, very nice. Let's have a quick look at our flight report then. My flight is reviewed because of a unknown livery or airframe, so it's not certain at the moment. Obviously, they will accept it. It's because they don't allow anything that isn't a Jet2 livery. Obviously, this is a Jet2 livery. I guess no one else has flown it before, so it needs checking. But there you go. Did a very nice little flight there. Very nice landing rate as well. -274. Got 165 points for it. For all of how we start the engines and how we did everything properly, turnaround time, flight length, all that stuff. Touchdown was tolerable. I'll take that. So it's alright. Hour and 42 minutes block time in the end. Is that block time or that's flight time? Hour and 42-minute flight time. Block time was 1 hour and 55 minutes. So pretty good, really. Hope everyone really enjoyed that one. Hope to see you in the next one. And I'll leave you with the background music and the end screen. Bye-bye!